typically what I'll do is I'll just filter it by percentage gain. And then, you can run like a scan inside the scan if you want to like kind of weave out some of these like really, really kind of small price ones. But then when I see the hot sector like that, what I'll start to do is just flip through them and like rebuild out a list. So that's like kind of what Paul teaches, right? Like a top-down approach. So it's like, okay, if one stock has relative volume compared to the market and the rest of your list, right? Click the button in the corner, bring out the sympathy plays of the watch list, and start filtering through. And like what you'll start to see is like, oh, okay, hey, this could be a breakout, or this could be this. And so then you want to just kind of filter through it. Like this kind of IPO stock is actually really interesting. Now, it's not a good day trader, but that's something like, right, you would be watching for a swing trade or something like that. And so, having like a top-down approach when you see certain things that are moving in the market or have particular relative strength ends up being like really, really important, right? And so, there was like a couple different ones that were, really popping yesterday, right? So like even with, right, like Twilio was software application. So everything, all the action was in software, right? So even when the market was down, even when the market was down so much, right, Twilio went red to green. And so like that right there is high relative strength. And so like what you want to do on your TC2000, right, you whip out the list and see like, okay, what else is moving, right? So that's where you get like a Mongo Bongo or a Twilio or some of these other names because, like shops on there, so on and so forth. So just a little, I know I'm going a little tangent from, just going over the stocks, but that's just one way that, we use to kind of look at how the heck do we find like additional heaters, right? Because when you go through like your scans and stuff, you're going to get all these stocks that are moving around, but they might be moving around with no rhyme or reason, right? So when you go with a little bit of a top-down approach, at times you'll find like things that are correlated that are going to move. So just something to be mindful of. The market had obviously a big push yesterday into the close. It was very tradable though because you had a big flush at the open, right? And TVIX was flying. And so you had like an opening trend, which is awesome, right? When you get an opening trend till noon or so, that's always a fun. And then, right, the rest of the day, TVIX faded off and the market ramped. And so you get to kind of play both ways. That's the fun part about being a day trader, right, is that you've got action that's coming in long and short. You just got to know when to flip those bad boys. So, obviously, there's a lot of heat going on in the hood of the market. Let's talk a little bit about gappers here today. This notorious BIG is really looking zesty here for a little marination station. If it can hang out at the open, this is a candidate to go ORB. Obviously, because it's already down 19%, what I would say is that we let it pop to the 9 EMA and then reshred the shred to the downside. You guys know what we're talking about, right? You get gapped out, let it pop to the 9 EMA, and then VWAP fizzle, or let it pop down and go sideways and take that thing down. Man, my mom used to love big lots. Mom, yeah. How much did we go to big lots back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
All the time. Big lots is our spot. There's no... Horace Starlord. Now, that's a good name, by the way. So I keep the big lots on the watch list. Look, some of these pot stocks are kind of popping up in the morning. The problem is that, the charts suck deep, right? And not that there's anything wrong with that, but, right? I don't want these kind of nasty charts. And so that's where we've got to kind of be mindful of this. NBEV looks a little bit better because you got more of a rounding pattern than CGC. So, I'd keep an eye on this kind of old high was like, a little bit above there. You're starting to get some pre-action moves. Obviously, Kron got a big investment today. So, that's where, who knows, right? If you start to see this thing pull back at the open and then it starts to really, really push this thing into that old breakout, man, you might be having yourself a good old time, right? You might be having yourself a good old time, and we'll see. So this stock trades thick, meaning that like it always has a lot of volume. You know, I know that people think volume is right, like the biggest thing in trading, but when you have too much volume, stocks move like shit. You know, I'd rather have like a little bit less volume. Like there's a sweet spot in terms of volume. We like expanding volume, but when stocks are too liquid, they trade like bank stocks, right? You know what has a lot of volume? GE. You know what has a lot of volume? Bank of America, right? And Cron trades real thick like that, and that's where, you know, we got to go, man. Thick is nice, but we don't want too thick, right? Like Joshua Hester's mom. She's a nice lady, kind face, but a little bit too thick for my taste. So that's where I kind of, you know, I always preferred trading CGC. It just had a better range, and even though it had a little spread. TRY is on my ban list, so even though this one's gapping up, I won't touch. I won't touch that one. The spread is just too ganar. You know what? And this is like, it trades like UGAS, right? Where like you get such a big spread on this thing, and then it's hard to get in and out of it, and before you know it, it's just a dud. So just be kind of mindful of that. This UNFI is gapping down in some bad earnings. It's been really decimated all year anyways. Usually when these things are already downtrending, they keep kind of gapping down. When they start gapping down, they just have more. UXNI. You know, this one's like a stock that's just got hit. It got hit with resistance here and then stuck at resistance here. And, you know, that just kind of happens. I mean, these stocks are pump and dumps, right? So they're not necessarily supposed to move all day. You know, you can see, like, it doesn't do any organic volume, right? Like, there's no volume on this thing in an organic manner. It all just came within a couple minutes, and then it just died. Hey, good job on the score there, buddy. Yeah, it's just not organic enough. I'm not sure on this one. I think we stick with these software names and just let this thing really roll with it. Guys, you got the strength in the market, the reversal is actually pretty impressive yesterday. So we got to give kind of the benefit of doubt to the bulls for the short term. But remember that the news cycle has been up and down. It's like trade deal, no trade deal, interest rates, no interest rates, trade deal, no trade deal. It's fantastic. We've got ourselves a trade deal. Okay, those people in China, they're going to pay. They're going to pay their fair share. They're going to pay for our big, gigantic wall. We're going to have the biggest wall in the world. Okay, the Great Wall of China is nothing compared to Trump's wall.
Okay, I'm gonna take the money from the Chinese people. They're fantastic. Okay, I'm working with five-star generals.
Now, so if we can hold over this 167, I think we're going to be pretty good. If we start to leak below, and then you start getting the rumors of no trade deal, this trade deal, blah, 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 blah. You know, watch this level over here. You start to take out these pre-market lows, you might start to drift your way back. This is the nature of the game that we're in. So we'll just have to play the range and do what we got to do. Guys, it's Friday. Try not to screw up, right? You know, you lose on Friday. You know what happens the rest of the day, rest of the weekend. Hanging out in your mom's basement, right? Eating Cheerios. Watching Weekend at Bernie's. It's not that fun. I wasn't making fun of him. I was complimenting him. Secto. Build that mall. Good, good, good. All right, let's go do what we got to do, peoples. You know how it is on Fridays. Expect a couple shakeouts. Do what you got to do. And, man, there's more than enough there's more than enough winners out there today. This type of stock like this, Jazzy Jazz, is because it's in a downtrend. When it gaps, it's like it gets really crazy. You know, it could go up, it could go down, it could fade, it could not fade. So just be mindful of that. You know, I'm a little so-so on that one. All right? You're in Detroit, Mr. Engberg? I didn't know that. All right, my friends, let's do this.